Hello everyone and welcome back to Caverns of the Snow Witch. When we last left off we just began our adventure and we are now at the edge of a crevice which is spanned by an ice bridge. We could cross the ice bridge or we could walk around the crevice, and I don't trust this ice bridge. I'm 100% sure that something bad is going to happen or we need to perform some kind of roll, maybe a luck roll. I don't want to waste our luck points, so let's walk around the crevice. Let's see where that leads. As we walk along the edge of the crevice, the wind starts to howl, blowing flurries of snow into our face. We put our head down and stride into the wind. A dark shape suddenly looms out of the curtain of snow. A huge hairy mammoth stands before us, its long tusks curving out threateningly. Trumpeting loudly, it lumbers forward to attack. I don't know what we did to it so that it attacks us on sight, but whatever, let's defend ourselves. And it has a skill level of 8 and a stamina of 9, so it needs 5 hits to go down. And we are quite favored with +4 skill points, so this shouldn't be a very difficult battle. So far it's not. Alright, one more hit and it's down. It takes half an hour of hard walking to reach the end of the crevice. We are now able to climb further up the mountain. The steep climb and the swirling snow combine to make the going slow. Okay? The snow is beginning to fall very heavily, swirling around in the strong wind. A blizzard is starting. Now we have two options. We could either use our sword to dig a shelter in the snow, or we could press on. I'm not going to use to dig a shelter in the snow because I don't want to be trapped here. I don't think that's a great idea. Not sure if it would work anyway. I mean, I've never heard anybody using a sword to dig a shelter. So we are going to press on and hopefully get out of this blizzard sooner or later. Maybe we might suffer some damage, but still, let's just try to proceed like that. Let's just persevere. The temperature is well below freezing point, and the howling blizzard chills us to the bone. We struggle to walk through the snowstorm, but it drains our energy. We lose 2 stamina points, alright? So we are down to 21 stamina points. That's fair enough. The blizzard worsens. We can barely see our hand in front of our face. Now we could actually still dig ourselves a shelter in the snow with our sword, which still sounds like a horrible idea. So once again, let's persevere and let's hope that it won't get much worse. So we are going to walk through the blizzard. The cold is almost unbearable. Our hands and feet are numb, and we wonder if we will be able to grip our sword should danger arise. By the time the blizzard finally dies down, we realize that we should have taken shelter, okay? One of our hands has become frostbitten, and we need to perform a luck roll, and fortunately it's guaranteed to succeed. And it does. Fortunately, it is not our sword arm which is affected by frostbite, but nevertheless, the blizzard has taken its toll. We lose 1 skill point and 3 stamina points. This is actually pretty bad. We've lost 5 stamina points altogether, which is quite unfortunate. But even worse is the skill point loss, so let's see if we can make up for this. We are tempted to turn round and walk back to Big Jim's son's caravan. But our reputation is at stake, and we have no choice but to carry on with the grim trek up the mountainside. That's correct. Let's proceed. Underneath an overhanging rock, we see a small wooden hut built against the side of the mountain. Its roof is piled high with snow, and long icicles hang down from the window ledges. We see a set of deep footprints leading from the hut up the side of the mountain. Alright, let's enter the hut. Let's see if anybody is at home. The front door of the hut is frozen shut, and we have to batter it with our shoulder to open it. Fortunately, we don't need to do anything to successfully open it, to blast it open. There is only one room inside the hut, containing the belongings of a fur trapper. Traps, furs and sacks are stacked in a corner of the room. We can tell that the room has recently been occupied, from the wooden bed, table, chair, cooking utensils, and the ashes in the fireplace, which are still warm. Alright. We could leave the hut, but why would we do that? It's not like we're in any danger. We could actually put some logs on the fire and warm up the cold stew in one of the pans. That sounds like a better idea. We definitely could do with some warming up as well as some stamina restoration. So let's see if it works out. The fire is soon roaring and crackling in the hearth. The heat of the flames radiates through our body and we revel in the warmth. The stew is delicious and we feel our strength returning. We gain 3 stamina points. Okay, that's actually pretty good. With that means that we have managed to beat the blizzard, the snowstorm, and it cost us only 2 stamina points loss, which is not a big deal. It also cost us a skill point loss, which is worse, so we should try to negate that as soon as possible. With renewed energy, we decide to leave the hut to continue our quest. Alright. As we are about to leave the hut, we catch sight of some weapons lying under the bed. Now, we could take a couple of these weapons with us. Sounds like a good idea. Or we could decide not to be encumbered by the additional weight and would rather leave without the weapons, but that sounds like a silly idea. Let's let's scavenge and gather everything we can. Hopefully the fur trapper is not going to miss, we're not going to take everything. We're just going to take what we find useful. Haha. We take a warhammer and a spear before leaving the hut. Now that's more like it. We actually have a sword now. Apart from our sword, we have a spear and a warhammer. So, unfortunately, it didn't confer any skill bonuses. I mean, that would have been nice if we could negate it that way, but whatever. I'm pretty sure they're not, bad to have around, so they might come in handy. Alright. Let's turn. Outside again, in the deep snow, we set off on our trek up the mountainside, following the footprints in the snow. Alright. The high altitude and thin atmosphere make us pant for breath as we continue our steady climb. We lose 1 stamina point. And that's really awesome. It's guaranteed damage that we cannot avoid and not negate in any way. It's not like there was any chance that we could escape from losing this 1 stamina point. I mean, it's not that big a deal, but it's kind of unnerving that just out of nowhere we simply are getting weaker. Alright. Suddenly, we hear the cry of a human voice followed by a ferocious roar. Not far ahead, we see a fur trapper, the fur trapper I believe, fighting for his life against a gigantic bear-like beast with long white fur and sharp teeth protruding from its jaws. It is the killer beast we have been hunting, the abominable Yeti. We watch the unfortunate trapper being gashed by the Yeti's claws and falling face down in the snow. Incensed by the vicious attack, we scream at the Yeti and run through the snow to attack it. Alright, I guess this poor fur trapper bit off more than it could chew, and I don't blame, I mean, I'm pretty sure that it was a very one-sided battle. If this is truly the Yeti we are looking for and our prize, then there are a few things to note. First of all, this has dispatched of 6 armed Northmen without, succumbing to any wounds. And now it's destroying this poor fur trapper. It has destroyed or killed this fur trapper, and we are charging it, which doesn't sound like a very smart idea, especially with our skill level lowered a bit. Also, if this is our target and we somehow manage to kill it, then this was a very short adventure indeed. Short and uneventful, I would say, apart from a bit of frostbite and battling a mammoth. Not much has happened, really. Well, we also rummaged and ransacked some the possessions of this fur trapper, but if he doesn't survive, then he's not going to need it. Let's see. Let's hope he survives. We are carrying a spear. Yes, we are. Carefully, we heft the spear in our grasp, aiming at the Yeti. That sounds like a great idea. And we don't have frostbite in our sword arm. If you recall, we have the frostbite in the other arm. Haha, so I guess that comes to our advantage. Gripping the shaft tightly, we pull back our arm and hurl the spear at the snarling Yeti. Alright? The shaft is icy and it slips from our grip as we release it. The spear misses the Yeti, plummeting harmlessly into the snow. That's awesome. We had a 1 in a 6 chance of failing a random dice roll, and obviously we had to fail this. This is great. What does that mean? We draw our sword and lunge at the huge white beast, okay? Well, alright. Whatever that meant. This Yeti is not that... In fact, it is weaker than the mammoth we fought. The mammoth also had a skill point of 8, but it had a stamina point of 9, which might not seem much of a difference, but it means that this beast only needs 4 hits to go down, whereas the mammoth needed 5, so let's see how it works out. Obviously we are still favored. We are a bit weaker, so this battle could be a bit more even. So far, fortunately, it's in our favor, still. Only one more hit, and it's down. Wow, it rolled a double one, stood no chance. Haha, so even with our trusty spear missing, that we just found by the way, missing totally its mark, we still managed to beat this Yeti. I guess we could go back to our host and to the caravan and grab our reward and be done with it. Or that must have been the shortest adventure we've ever had. We kneel down beside the fur trapper and turn him over slowly. His eyes are barely open and blood trickles down from the corner of his mouth. The Yeti has gouged deep wounds in his chest, and we realize that there is no hope of saving him. Poor guy, but at least he's not going to be mad that we ate his stew and we stole some of his weapons and wasted totally uselessly with his spear. He's not going to need them anymore, so it's not like a big deal. With a great effort, he reaches up and grabs us round the neck, pulling us down so that we can hear his dying words. He thanks us for trying to save him and insists on telling us his secret. In terrible pain, he struggles to whisper his story. He tells us that he has lived in the mountains for most of his life, hunting animals and trading their furs, but for the last 5 years he has been searching for the legendary Crystal Caves. Alright? I don't know how strong he is that he can still relay all this information. And I don't know why he's telling us all this. We are interested in one thing, and that one thing was the the dispatching of the Yeti, which we have successfully done. We have succeeded. We have won. Game over. Haha. Anyway, back to the Crystal Caves. These caves have been cut out of a glacier by the followers of the Snow Witch, a beautiful yet evil sorceress who is trying to use her dark powers to bring on an ice age so that she can rule supreme over the whole world. Wow, the whole world, really? Isn't that a bit too much? And isn't there any resistance to this? Evil, beautiful yet evil sorceress? Whatever. The entrance to the Crystal Caves is high up on this very mountain. It is open, but hidden by an illusion. Okay, quick stop here. How does this poor fur trapper know all this? Is this common knowledge over here that we have an evil, beautiful yet evil sorceress who is trying to take over the world and everybody is just kind of okay with it? No answers here. The unfortunate fur trapper found the Crystal Caves, the entrance to the Crystal Caves, by accident only yesterday, when he saw one of the Snow Witch's warriors seemingly walk straight through an ice wall and disappear. Alright? The trapper left a piece of fur hanging over the entrance so that he could find it again the next day. Okay, that makes sense. Sadly, the Yeti has put an end to his hopes. Alright? I really still hope he doesn't die. I mean, well, we have stated that there is no hope of saving him, but what does all of this have to do with us, or with anything, really? Anyway, sadly the Yeti has put an end to his hopes. He asks us to enter the caves to slay the vile Snow Witch and leave her followers without their leader. There are legends about great treasures being frozen into the wall of the Snow Witch's lair, which would provide ample reward. The fur trapper suddenly grips us hard and then falls back silently into the snow. He's dead. We cover him with snow before deciding what to do. 50 gold pieces await us if we return with evidence of the Yeti's death to Big Jim's son. But the thought of a quest through the crystal caves beneath Icefinger Mountains excites us, and we decide to set off to find them. Alright, which part of a quest to kill this powerful evil dark sorceress excites us exactly? I'd like to know that. Maybe the treasures frozen into the wall, or you know, just becoming a hero. It's unclear. Anyway, I'm a bit sad that we don't have the option to, you know, just return to Big Jim's son, cash in our 50 gold pieces and live happily ever after. But whatever, we have no other options but to proceed. So let's try to find these crystal caves and hopefully be done with it as soon as possible. So I guess we've just received our second main quest immediately after we finish the first one. So we need to proceed. Now that the snow has stopped falling, the sky is clear and blue. The air is cold and crisp, and the snow crunches beneath our feet. Slowly we make our way up the mountainside looking for the cave entrance marker left by the fur trapper. Suddenly we hear a distant rumbling from above, the terrifying sound of an avalanche. And we need to perform a luck roll, and you would think, and you would be right to think, that with 11 luck points our chances of failing are pretty slim. And that's right, it's in 1 in 33 or 1 in 37 or something like that, so it's a very low chance. But if you recall, in our last adventure we actually managed to fail such a luck roll, so let's see how we perform this time, and we got lucky. Alright, that was the more probable outcome anyway. We look up to see great cascades of snow tumbling down the mountain. Fortunately, the avalanche sweeps down a ridge adjacent to the one we are climbing. Okay, so we managed to survive this one. I don't know if it was like an automated defense mechanism or just a random event, but it cost us 1 luck point, and other than that we're fine. So let's proceed. Let's try to find that cave entrance rather. We make our way slowly up the mountain until we reach a rock face that is too steep to climb. We walk round the side until we see a massive wall of ice, which completely blocks a gully between 2 peaks of the mountain. The glacier! Alright, so far so good. We have found the general area where we should be looking. Our heart leaps as we catch sight of the piece of fur left hanging on the wall of ice by the trapper. It's kind of curious that nobody removed that. I mean, they could have suspected that it's clearly a sign, a symbol for the entrance. Maybe nobody noticed it. Although we cannot see the entrance, we walk straight ahead. We shut our eyes as we think we are about to walk into the wall of ice, but we walk straight through the illusion and find ourselves inside a long tunnel carved into the ice. We walk down it and soon arrive at a T-junction. Alright, so it actually worked out, believe it or not. We have entered the caverns of the Snow Witch, presumably, and it didn't cost us anything, really, at all whatsoever. We got a bit of a frostbite, but other than that we're fine. Yeah, so this doesn't look bad. We've also used up a bit of our luck, but that's also still acceptable. Now we could turn left or right, and I don't know, but the very first book we entered, the very first dungeon, we also immediately arrived at the T-junction. We turned right, so let's turn right again. That sounds like the correct answer here. The tunnel opens out into a small cavern which is empty, apart from a brass bowl resting on top of an ice plinth. The bowl contains a yellow liquid and a wooden ladle. Alright, so it's something for consumption. I guess it's a soup or a stew or something like that. Yellow liquid, that sounds like a soup. Let's drink some of the liquid. That would be a really weird and silly trap if this was poisonous. I mean, it could be harmful for whatever reason, but I really don't think this is a trap. So let's drink some of the liquid and maybe we find out what it is. We could have ignored it, but what the hey. The liquid sends a glow through our body and we feel wonderfully warm. We have swallowed a potion made by the Snow Witch that keeps her followers from feeling the cold. We gain 3 stamina points, hooray! The potion also cures frostbite. Any skill points that we may have lost because of frostbite are now restored. With renewed vigor, we walk back out of the cavern. And that's actually great news. That means that both our stamina and skill points are back to maximum, which is absolutely totally fantastic and awesome. We have suffered no losses, no nothing here so far. And yeah, and we didn't need to use up anything of our consumables or any of our items. The only thing missing is 2 luck points, but that's all acceptable. So we have been restored, rejuvenated, and with renewed vigor we could actually proceed. But I say this is a great place to stop. We are finally back to full strength. We have been healed. We are not cold. We are in a relatively safe place, in a little room or cavern or whatever. So let's try to catch our breath here, and let's take a little break. I'm going to make the cut of the video right here. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.